Standing in front of the Walnut Row housing project, a project in downtown Holyoke, which is funded through a federal grant and constructed by the Valley Housing Development Corporation, and it's a housing project for farm workers, a project that was almost not constructed. We're here today to talk to Ann Huston, president of Valley Housing Development Corporation, to find out what happened.
Ann Huston, president of the Valley Housing Development Corporation. Organized 9 years ago to develop farm worker housing in Holyoke, Valley Housing Development Corporation developed and owns Walnut Row Apartments. We created Valley Housing Development Corporation in response to a need for housing for farm workers who live in Holyoke as a central community while working in farms to the north in Hadley and the Amherst area, and to the south as far as Connecticut. We purchased this site for Walnut Row when it was an empty lot and a top playground that was overgrown with weeds, strewn with trash, and served as a central drug trafficking area for this neighborhood. We did extensive surveys on use of the playground to ensure that we wouldn't be removing a community resource, and discovered that in fact, except for the drug trafficking and occasional night parties, it was not used by neighborhood children. We received funding to develop the housing from the Farmers Home Administration, who provided both a grant and rental housing subsidies. We put the project out to bid, and the day that we were opening our construction bids, the alderman passed a motion to try and take our property by eminent domain as a way of halting the project. What ensued were lengthy battles in which finally both the federal government and the state said that they would withhold all discretionary funds if the city blocked the project. Both the state and the feds felt like the city's actions were clearly discretionary and aimed at preventing the development of housing that would serve a primarily Hispanic population. In addition, the Mass Commission Against Discrimination threatened to sue individually each and every alderman who had voted for taking of the land. The city agreed to withdraw its efforts to take the land, and we proceeded with construction. We broke ground in July of 1986, and tenants began to move in early in 1987. One of the things that this project has demonstrated is that it is possible to develop affordable housing that contributes to the vitality of a community. We've had many comments about how Walnut Row has, instead of depressing this neighborhood, added a great deal. I think that we can see that it's an attractive, well-maintained site. The property is managed by the Housing Allowance Project, who screen tenants and provide ongoing management of the property. All tenants are employed as farm laborers, and that is recertified annually. They pay a percentage of their income for rent, and the balance of rent is covered through a federal subsidy. We've been very pleased with the results of this project, and have been particularly encouraged by the response of some of our previous opponents. And the one that was most pleasing was Mayor Dunn, who shortly after taking office admitted that though he had been one of our staunchest opponents, he now felt like this was a good and viable project. You know, alderman and community opposition to the project seems to stem from, wait, I'm going to start this over, okay? Alderman and community opposition to the project seem to stem from a belief that many of the problems that Holyoke was experiencing were due to the availability of affordable housing, and also that there was not an adequate number of eligible applicants for the housing already living in Holyoke, so that the project might draw more people into Holyoke. One of the things that we did to dispel the latter notion was conduct extensive surveys of farm worker populations that included visiting area farms, surveying local waiting lists for affordable housing, and we're able to determine, and have in fact proved from 3 years of operation, that there were adequate numbers of farm workers already living in Holyoke to fill this project several times over. The former issue, that of the role that affordable housing played in Holyoke's problems, was certainly harder to dispel. Biases had been built up for years based on poor management. One of the things we wanted to prove was that good management and proper tenant selection could produce housing that contributed as much as any other housing in a neighborhood. One of the things that I think that we've done is turned an empty trash-strewn lot into an attractive housing project that has upgraded this entire neighborhood. We find that we're able to produce housing that is good not only for the neighbors, but for the tenants who live here.
Ann Huston for her insight into the
reached the neighbor-to-neighbor crime report line. For emergency assistance, call 536-0111. At the tone, please tell us the date of your call. Then describe briefly those involved in the crime, including addresses, license plate numbers, color and model of cars involved, etc. Information collected here will be transmitted to the appropriate authorities. Do not leave your name. If you hear 6 tones, your call cannot be recorded. In that case, please call again tomorrow.
Usted ha hecho contacto con vecino-vecino, línea para reportar crímenes. En caso de emergencia, debe llamar al 536-0111. Después del sonido, por favor, diga la fecha, así también violación, nombre de personas, color y número de vehículo. Información recogida será distribuida a autoridades federales, estatales y locales. No de su nombre. Si oye 6 sonidos, por favor, cuelgue y llame otra vez mañana.
Essex sticker right on the Walnut, you'll see the sign on the left. It's on the left-hand side. It's right in that block there. All right. Okay. Feel free to come back. That's great. Yeah. Good. Thanks. I hope we didn't burn you out or anything.
No, it's
Oh, it is. Shit. You can get rid of that. Oh, is it the mic on too? Oh my God. I'm sinking myself here, Russ. I should just shut up, huh? They trust you with this, huh? It's pretty special. Somebody's going to see that and say, who did that? Hamill. I'm going to lose my job. We got to dispose of that tape. Must be a good feeling to know that if you lose your job with DSS, you can go work for Continental Cable.
Yeah.
okay.
Hi, my name is Kevin Hamill, and I'm employee of Providence Hospital Community Health and Human Services in Holyoke, down on 210 Elm Street, which is a multi-substance abuse service agency as well as a prenatal care. I am also co-chairman of the Holyoke AIDS Taskforce and a representative of the Hamden County AIDS Coalition through Community 2000. The talk right now will be primarily geared towards the Holyoke AIDS Taskforce and what it's been doing, what it's done, what it plans on doing in the future for the city of Holyoke around the issue of AIDS. The Holyoke AIDS Task Force is a subcommittee of the Primary Care Coalition of Holyoke, which looks at a number of areas of need in the area.
What are the current goals and objectives of the Holyoke AIDS Task Force?
Primarily, they're threefold. One is community outreach and education. 2 is the advocacy for services. And 3 is the coordination of services in the area, in the Holyoke area. An example of community outreach education, in the past what we've done and in the future what we will be doing is a massive outreach effort of information, AIDS brochures, pamphlets, telephone numbers where individuals can call for services or information to area supermarkets. There are 5 a couple of years ago that we focused on, and there will be another 5 in June that we will focus on in the Holyoke community to pass out information on AIDS and HIV infection, and again the how to get services, where to get services. It will be in English as well as in Spanish. Also, another outreach effort that we've worked hard on is the bleach program, getting bleach out to the active IV drug users who are still out in the streets, still continue to share their needles. And what we hope by giving them the bleach is for them to use it to clean their works. We had a couple years ago, we had a massive mailing through the gas and electric bills of AIDS information, which will something we may look into in the near future again. But right now we're focusing on that, the supermarket outreach, getting information to the people that are going into the supermarkets on a Saturday morning. An idea of the coordination of services is working closely with Community 2000 out of Springfield and their Hampden County AIDS Coalition. So there's not a duplication of services. It's much more productive if there's people are coordinating that, whatever that service may be, whether it be health care, outreach, what have you, that it's coordinated. The advocacy for services, something we worked rather hard on and encouraged, was that Holyoke should get an alternative test site, which they recently opened through the Family Planning Council. They opened in March, which offers anonymous HIV counseling and testing to people that are interested in getting that test done. So that's been the focus, and there are other issues in there with the education and outreach, looking at doctors, seeing what we can do for doctors and educating doctors and giving them the appropriate information and referral sources for testing and other issues related to AIDS. How
prevalent is the issue of AIDS in Holyoke, or if you can, in Hampden County?
Well, in the Hampden County area, there's probably been they just keep track of diagnosed cases of AIDS. They don't keep track of people that are infected, the ones that are not showing any signs or symptoms, and that's somewhere close to I'm off the top of my head, close to 2,000. Diagnosed cases of AIDS in the Hampden County, Western Mass area. And when you look at Holyoke itself, a good judge of what we're faced with is one of our programs here, the methadone program, which consists of one of the highest risk groups, risk behaviors, and that is IV drug use. And we have anywhere from 150 clients up on the program at any one time, and we know that 30% of those individuals are infected. In the city of Holyoke itself, there's probably close to 3,000 IV drug users. So if 30% of our 150 are infected, it would be pretty safe to bet that close to 30% of the active IV drug users on the street are still infected. So 30% of 3,000 plus their sexual contacts doubles that number immediately.
And has the number been going up, or has it been leveling off?
It's definitely been going up in certain areas. The IV drug population has been going up. The heterosexual population, which will continue to cause a problem amongst the heterosexual population, that they don't perceive themselves at risk, because I'm not a homosexual, I'm not an IV drug user, but I can still go to a bar, go out drinking, go out picking up men or women, what have you, and have unsafe sex with those individuals and not have to worry about anything. So in those two areas, it's gone up. Adolescents are of prime concern because they're engaging in unsafe sex, as well as experimenting with drugs and alcohol, thus putting themselves at risk for infection.
How long has the task force been in existence, and who are the members of the task force?
As far back as I remember, I would give the task force has been around approximately 4 or 5 years. The membership has been primarily line staff, social workers, counselors, healthcare workers, physician's assistants, real line staff. There haven't been, to my knowledge, too many administrators. It's been more of the people that are in the trenches doing the online work with people that are infected.
And what are the organizations that are involved?
Oh, there's only I can only think of it'd be easier for me to tell you who hasn't been involved, but those that have been involved, there have been approximately 20. We have Providence Hospital, Community Health and Human Services, Holyoke Hospital, the Holyoke Health Center, family planning, Mount Tom Institute, the Holyoke Health Center, and I hate to leave anybody out, but it's been numerous. There's River Valley Counseling Centers, there are numerous agencies throughout the city of Holyoke. Again, there's a couple, 3 that I could think of that haven't been involved at one point or another.
Anything else? Well, maybe I talk a little bit about when in June are you planning to distribute this information?
Okay.
You have like a beginning date?
Yeah. The supermarket outreach program, as it's planned now for June 23rd, which is a Saturday morning, from the hours of 10 to 1, I believe. 10, 11, 12. Might be 10 to 2. But we have 5, again, we have 5 targeted supermarkets, as well as we want to coordinate with some outreach workers to do some bleach distribution in the area for those, again, the individuals that are engaging in IV drug use. So we've got that date planned for June 23rd.
If anyone is interested in learning more about that specific project, the distribution of information, or the Holyoke AIDS Taskforce, who should they call and where should they call?
Probably the best bet would be to try to get in touch with me here at Providence Hospital down at 210 Elm Street, Community Health and Human Services. And the number for that is 538-9400, extension 210. I'm hard to get a hold of, but if you leave a message, I can get back to you.
Today I'm in the offices of Nueva Esperanza, a community development corporation in South Holyoke. We're going to be talking to María Figueroa, who's the associate director, and we're going to be discussing, among other things, their new $9.5 million. Okay, why don't we start? So, why don't you tell us what's the mission of Nueva Esperanza, and what are some of the things that Nueva Esperanza has been doing in South Holyoke?
In South Holyoke? Okay, the mission is to promote community participation, involvement, and control in issues affecting revitalization of South Holyoke, the Flats, Churchill, and Prospect Heights. The goals of the organization are to deliver more affordable housing to low-income neighborhood families, to develop community leadership, to encourage neighborhood economic development, and to promote the availability of appropriate community education and human services programs.
Why was there a need for an organization like Nueva Esperanza? So, what was the reason for, or the need? What was the need for Nueva Esperanza? Why did it start?
Well, Nueva Esperanza started out of the need for affordable housing, and not only affordable housing, but decent affordable housing. In the late 70s and early 80s, there were a lot of fires in the area, a lot of condemnation because of code violations, and a lot of out-of-state owners are just walking away from their properties. So people felt that we didn't really have any place to go. It was either save what we have or just, struggle to go to another neighborhood and start all over again. And some of the tenants that are now presently living with Nueva Esperanza in our first project got together and when their landlord evicted them and contacted agencies such as the Valley Opportunity Council. And they in turn contacted myself and other neighborhood people who had been in the same type of situation before and had expressed interest in sweat equity of a building, the acquisition of a building for ourselves. We were not able to do it, but with the help of these tenants and with our help, they were able to keep the building. We began organizing amongst ourselves. We began organizing the organization, working on acquisition of the building, on the incorporation of Nueva Esperanza, and that's how Nueva Esperanza came to be, with the help, of course, of the state government, who gave us our first loan for $15,000, first grant to hire a director.
When was Nueva Esperanza incorporated?
Nueva Esperanza was incorporated in July of 1982.
And since that time, the emphasis of Nueva Esperanza has been building rehabilitation?
Our emphasis has been housing, right? And we've already rehabbed approximately 107 units in this neighborhood, because we felt that in order to have an impact on the neighborhood, we needed to concentrate in one small area. First of all, we didn't have a track record. People were very unsure of what an organization by the name of Nueva Esperanza could do. So we more or less had to prove ourselves. And the decision to concentrate in this neighborhood was, first of all, because there was a need. The neighborhood was going up in smoke. And second of all, because we needed to show something for all the effort and all the work that we've done. And the only way that people could really see the difference is if everything was done in one place. And I think so far we've been very successful at doing that. I mean, the neighborhood already looks totally different than it did in 1981, in 1982, in 1983. Right now people are very proud of their housing units. They're willing to, in one of our projects, the tenants are willing to participate in developing the backyards and forming a playground. They're talking about picnic tables in the back and all of that. So that shows a sense of ownership coming out of the tenants, which is exactly what we wanted people to feel like they own the property. It's not just Nueva Esperanza's property, it's our property, all of us.
And so how many units have you rehabilitated in the last 9 years?
Okay, in the last 9 years we've done 107 units. Presently we own 5 buildings that are not rehabilitated, but they are part of South City Housing, which is our next housing project, and that includes the 5 buildings which will be rehabilitated, plus 56 units of brand new construction.
And that's the new $9.5 million project that's currently on the planning board?
Yes, it is.
And when is that planned to begin construction?
Well, we're hoping to be able to submit the application to MHFA by June, and hopefully by July it will be approved and we can start breaking ground soon. There is a discrepancy in, this is a program that the state is going to be subsidizing the developer, so it's called SHARP, and the guidelines for SHARP are a little bit vague. At one point we all thought we had the same meaning for those guidelines, but now it turns out that the state claims that they cannot give us the large percentage of subsidies that we required to make this project feasible. So we're waiting for them to come up with some type of definition for their own guidelines in order to go ahead with the project. And right now I think it's in at their court, and so we're hoping that that issue could be resolved soon.
And how big is the plan for the South City project that you have underway? How many units are you expecting to build? How many people will that house?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, there's going to be 5 apartment buildings that are going to be rehabbed, and 56 units. The apartments are going to be approximately 34 of them. 34. Well, initially it was 33 apartments and 1 commercial space. We've changed the commercial space to community meeting room and possibly office space for the management corporation. So we have 33 apartments that will be rehabbed and 56 brand new construction apartments.
And does Nueva Esperanza currently own the land that the new construction is going to be built on?
Yes, we do.
And it's all going to be in South Holyoke?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, the building where we're standing in right now, it's going to be demolished, and this is going to make way for the 56 units along with the lot next across the street. So between that lot and this corner, we will be building the 56 units. Plus, we are going to have 69 parking spaces in the project. So.
Good. Besides that, I know that Nueva Esperanza has been also active in some human service programming. Can you speak to that a little bit? I know that you're going to be taking over the management of the Teen Art Center, and that you also have the Dia de la Familia Hispana coming up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we have, first of all, we have a housing advocate, which he concentrates mostly in housing issues that are affecting people in the community, and usually people are referred to him by friends or family, or even ourselves. If someone comes to us and says, we need this and this and that, we will refer him to Virgilio Concepcion, who is our housing advocate, and he will do he will go with people to court if he has to, or guide them, teach them about their housing rights and so on and so forth. So the aim is for people to learn to do for themselves, not just to do everything for them, but for them to learn as we're guiding them through the system. We also have Centro de Educación durante el Embarazo, which is a center for education during pregnancy. Now, this program is funded by DPH, the Department of Public Health, and it's been so successful with the pregnant women and their families that we are going to be changing the name to include not just pregnant women, but the family in general. And we're hoping that by the time we move into our new offices, that will be done. We also have El Día de la Familia Hispana, which is the festival that we have on a yearly basis. This will be our 4th festival, and hopefully the best one out of the 4 of them. Every year, I think, we improve a little bit more, and we learn something new every year. So we're hoping to attract all the residents from our target area, and hopefully people from other areas will come and join us too, and learn about our culture and about our music, about our people, and so on and so forth. So.
And what's the date of that, and where is it going to be held?
The date of the festival is June 23rd, and it's going to be held at Bonin Park, and that's located on Jackson Street, Jackson and Southeast.
You also have, or in the past have been funded for some anti-arson work and the teen center, the art center.
Mm-hmm.
Are those
Right.
still in the planning stages, or what's happening with
Well,
that?
the anti-arson program is continuous with us. We try to identify properties that are either in danger of being abandoned, or and we try to encourage the landlords to participate. If we see a real big problem with the property, we usually contact the proper authorities, be it the police department or the fire department, so that they can take action. So we're always in the lookout for travel spots. We're not always successful because, things do happen, but I think that since we've been in this neighborhood, we have stabilized the neighborhood to a point where if anything happens, it's either, an accident or, we're hoping that it's only an accident, not arson or anything like that. But I feel that my neighborhood, because I do live here and work here, I feel that my neighborhood is pretty safe at this point in time. We do have a big problem with drugs, and Nueva Esperanza has been instrumental in the development of Vecino a Vecino, which is an anti-drug, anti-crime telephone tip line. So to this point, I think Vecino a Vecino has been effective. The reports that we get from the police department is that they do listen, they do read our reports on a regular basis, that those reports are submitted to other law enforcement agencies, and that they do use those reports to do some of their police work. So I feel comfortable that the telephone tip line is working, and I would like to encourage everyone to use it, whether they live in the flats, whether they live in South Holyoke, Prospect Heights, Churchill, or anywhere else in Holyoke. It's not only for this neighborhood, but it's for the entire city of Holyoke. And if you have a problem in your neighborhood or wherever it is, if you know of someone that's either dealing drugs, using drugs, or doing any other type of crime, it doesn't have to be drugs, that you will report it. And if you don't want the police to know your name, you don't have to give the police your name. You can just call the police directly or call the vecino vecino.
Okay. Is there anything else that we neglected or need to say?
Well, the teen center, El Arcoiris, I think, I feel hopeful that in years to come will flourish into something that will develop our youth to be able to deal with the world the way a lot of us could not deal with it. And that's our hope for the future, our kids, because our kids are the largest population right now in our community. So I'm hoping that the teen center will develop into something great for us, and we encourage anyone that has any type of artistic inclination or desire and want to either volunteer time or apply for some of the jobs that are available there to join in with us and help us create. I gotta bring my camera to film because Dad and Patrick working on the... here comes Kathy. Now you can film the director. Ay, ojalá y, Carlos, si eso no sale bien, if the stuff that I talked about sounds like crap, please.
This afternoon, Carlos Vega and Sylvia Galván, doing the rounds in Holyoke, Massachusetts, ended up at the Heritage Park, where the Holyoke Street School is having their annual media event. This event takes place every year, and with us we have the director of the center of Holyoke Street School, and she is going to introduce herself and talk to you about what this is all about.
My name is Judy Vázquez, and I'm director at the Holyoke Street School. The school is a special ed alternative high school for students that are either at risk of not completing their high school education or going to drop out or have already dropped out of school. We have 42 students in the school and a staff of 10. We teach all of the basic academics, but we also offer many enrichment classes such as photo and video, arts and crafts. We have a model railroading class, which the result of it is here today. We have a newspaper class, we have studio recording class, we have guitar class, we have a chess class, and gym classes also, physical education. Students can come to the school to get an accredited high school diploma, or they can get a GED. The thing that makes the school unique is that because we are so small, that we're able to have small class sizes. Students get a lot more attention than they have in the traditional school setting, and so in turn they're able to progress and get more one-on-one tutoring when they need it. Another unique component about the school is that we have student involvement in all decision making. We have a weekly town meeting where everyone in the school, staff and students, meet, and it's like a regular town meeting in a town. We discuss all issues going on at this school. If anybody has any concerns, staff or students, they can bring it up, and all decisions are made there together. We also talk about any committees that are meeting at the time in the school. For example, when I was hired and when any staff member is hired, students do sit in on the hiring committees, so it isn't just one person on the staff that makes a decision. When students are enrolled in the school, staff and students have an enrollment committee that they make the decision also. So students are involved in just about everything in the school. If there was one way I could sum up what our intention is at this school, it's to give students who have always been a little fish in a big pond, for them to be a big fish in a small pond. Everybody can be a star at the school.
You mentioned that when a new student arrives, everybody takes a decision if the student is going to be accepted or not. How's the process to get accepted into your school?
Okay. If a student is in the public school system, they need to go through their guidance counselor. But if a student has dropped out of school, they can come and just fill out an application, and then we will contact the school that they came from. Once the home school has approved it, we set up a trial week. And the student comes, they get a sample schedule as if they were enrolled in the program, and they go through a whole week of school. Then at the end of that week, we sit down with the enrollment committee and we discuss their performance that week. Is this the place for them? And are they the type of student we would like in our school?
Is there a limited number of students that you accept?
We can take 42 students. Right now we have 38, so we do have a few openings.
Well, we thank you very much. We'll be making the rounds in the exhibition and talking to your students.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for inviting us. Gloribel is a student at the Holyoke Street School. Would you like to tell us about your experience at the school?
I don't know what to say. I'm serious. My experience at the Holyoke Street School was pretty good. I had a lot of great times in the school, a lot of bad times. I like all the classes. I don't know. It was real fun. It's real fun being in the school.
For how long were you at the school?
I've been at the school since October 3rd. I started there October 3rd as a 12-week student, and I got accepted. And now I'm there till I graduate.
When will that be?
Oh, I would say about a year and a half. I'll say about then, because I just don't have enough points yet. But it's a pretty good school. It's real good. It helped me out a lot. You know, they were there for me when I had my problems, and I think they will always be there for me. You know, and it's a good school. It's pretty good.
What part of the exhibit you contributed to?
I made a video called Rated G, which I put a lot of my time and my effort in it, which was very good. We spent a lot of time doing the movie. We spent about 2 months, you know, trying to get everything done, everything ready. You know, it was real fun doing the movie. And I wrote a couple of poems in the exhibit, which are hanging outside, which I spent a lot of time writing them. I have fun writing them, and I hope to write more.
You like to write?
Yeah, I love to write. That's, you know, I write every day. I write every day. Whatever I could write. I write stories, poems, stuff like that.
Well, Gloribel, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Our two students at the Holyoke Street School that are going to talk to us about their experience at the school. Pat?
Well, I like Holyoke Street School a lot. I mean, I just started going here about 2 months ago, and I really enjoy it. I'm going to be getting my GED at the end of this year. I didn't really think I was going to make it through public schools and everything, and street school helped me out a lot. I mean, it's a great school to go to if, you know, you're having trouble in public schools and everything. I mean, it's really cool. I like
What was your contribution today in the exhibit?
What was that?
What was your contribution at the exhibit today?
Oh, I wrote a story. I wrote a story that they put up there on the board, and some of the things in arts and crafts I did. I did the little trays there, and one of the little clown things that they painted there, and I only had one piece of writing in there, but I liked it. It was like my best piece of work.
Good. Thank you. Trina, tell us about you.
About me?
In the school.
The school? Well, the school's fun. You meet all different kind of people. You have all kinds of fun. Everybody gets along down here. When you go to regular schools, you're always getting into fights with different kind of people. Down here, it's all simple. Everybody together as one friend or something.
Wrong. How long you been at the school?
I've been there since September. September. Yeah, September the 18th I've been there. And so far, I like it. I plan on coming here next year too. So I achieved a lot of things. I learned how to work a camera to be a good professional if I wanted to. And I'm gonna get my high school diploma from there too. So it'll be like, as soon as I get out of there, I'm gonna go into the Army Reserves and spend the rest of my life there.
How about you? What are you thinking of doing after you graduate?
Well, I'd like to go to college and I'm not really sure on what I want to do, but I do want to go to college and make something of myself. I mean, it seems a little hard to get there, but I'm slowly but surely I'm making it.
Could you tell us what was your piece in the art show today?
I did a tray. The trays out there, different designings. I wrote little stories up there, and they put them up there. I wrote a lot of things, and they had to put them up there, all different kind of things. That was it mostly. That's all they had to put it up there.
Thank you very much to the two of you, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Hector is yet another student from the Holyoke Street School, and he's going to tell us about his experience at the school. Hector?
Yeah, well, I started school in September 7. That's the day of my birthday. And I just going to school just to get my GED, because a lot of people, you know, because I quit school when I was 20. When I was 16, and I had a job and everything. I just I wanted to go back to school, so I heard about street school. So I went to street school for about 2 years just to go for my GED. So after I graduate from school, I'm gonna go to the Army. Hopefully, that's what I wanted to do, so I can get a good job. And that's about it.
What do you like about the school?
I like the teachers, they're real nice with me. I respect the teachers, they respect me, and I respect the students. Right now, they pick me for students council, telling all the students, and they pick me sergeant arm. You know, like every Monday we got a town meeting, and some people be talking, so I gotta go up to them and tell them, you know, cool out because the teacher's talking. And that's about it, me and Ricky De Leon, and that's it.
What was your contribution today into the art show?
I did geography, I did a globe in geography, and I did a math project and arts and craft with Judy Vázquez, and that's about it. And that's it.
Well, thank you very much.
That's a lot.
You tell me. Andres Garcia is a student at the Holyoke Street School, and he's the one that created this twin picture for the Multimedia Student Art Show. Tell me about the process. How do you do that?
Well, I just measure to take the pictures, right? And then you take the negatives and you put both negatives on top of each other, but first you got to look at through the red light to see how far apart you want it because you don't want it touching.
You learned all that at school?
Yeah, I've been wanting to do this since I've been there in school. I didn't think it was going to work because nobody ever tried it before in that school. So I just gave it a shot.
So that was the first?
Yeah, I was the first.
What else you've done at the school?
A lot of interviews. I don't know, a lot of things. When camping, trips, stuff, things like that.
When are you going to graduate?
Hopefully next year for a GED. I really want a high school diploma, but I don't got much time.
What are you going to do after that?
Go to the Army. I want to go into the Army if I could get in. If not, I'll take a vocation at Dean, like auto body or mechanics, something like that.
Well, thank you very much, Andres.
Hey, thank you. Bye.